If you look really carefully, you can see the reflection of myself in the mirror. Isn't that weird? Or this is a window. Anyways, I watched two Robert Mitchum movies today, or had them on while I was working. The first one was called When Strangers Marry. It was also known as Betrayed. It's from 1944, and it's directed by William Castle, but it's not in gimmicky Castle mode. It is a straight up noir where Kim Hunter has come to New York looking for her husband, played by Dean Jagger. She's only known him briefly. They are married. She has not seen him in a month. She's supposed to meet him. He is not where he said he'd be. She's trying to track him down. She runs into her ex-friend, possible lover, Robert Mitchum, billed as Bob Mitchum, who clearly wanted her to marry him at one point and is a little concerned that she's married a near stranger. Meanwhile, a man has been murdered by a silk stocking in Philadelphia. The last wire that she's received from her husband was from, you guessed it, Philadelphia. So she starts to suspect that perhaps her husband is the murderer. Eventually, she reconnects with him and puts those sort of suspicions aside and tries to move on as a married woman. But then Bob Mitchum keeps popping up, causing more suspicions. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends because there was a twist, and I was like, oh my god, I never get the twists. I just go with the story and try not to think ahead, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. So it's just a real fun sort of film noir. The other Mitchum film that I watched today was from Wild Bill Wellman, also known as William A. Wellman. And this was the story of G.I. Joe, also known as Ernie Pyle's Story of G.I. Joe. It's based on the writing of Ernie Pyle, who was a war correspondent during World War II. This film is from 1945, so sort of very close to home in this. It's a battalion of men. Wellman has made several of these films, like Battleground and others, and what I think is so great about Wellman's battalions and men is they all have individual personalities, but they don't feel like archetypes or characters. They all feel lived in and like real people, and I think that has to do with Wellman's experience during World War One, and his ability to really translate his own war experiences into unique and realistic war cinema. So there's also a really cute dog in this movie. And this was the one and only time in which Mitchum was nominated for an Oscar. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And when this film was first released, it actually had posters with Burgess Meredith, who was playing Ernie Pyle, as the lead. But then when it was re-released later on, they capitalized on Mitchum because Mitchum was becoming a big star at this point. And he's so good in this. I see why he got his Oscar nomination for this. And as great as he is in some of these later films, I almost think this might be his best performance. It's definitely his most realistic and least Mitchum-y, if you catch my drift there. Just a great film and a good, solid war film. Moments of happiness and tender camaraderie and sadness and horror and all around good filmmaking. So both of these films are still available on Watch TCM. I think they're on DVD as well. And what was I going to say? I don't remember. I don't know. Robert Mitchum, good stuff. So today's French Haute Tone Day, and I've actually watched a few of those films because they're short. So, but I'm going to watch tonight's films and then do a giant French Haute Tone video because, yeah. So, I guess the last thing I wanted to say was William A. Wellman is one of my favorite directors, and you should definitely like watch all of his movies. He's so good, and he doesn't just make horror films. He's got a large variety of films. He's a very versatile director, and very rarely have I seen films of his that I did not like. There's a couple that didn't quite work, but he's just a really interesting filmmaker, and he gave me Clara Bow and Those Boots, so I'm gonna love him forever. So this was When Strangers Marry and Story of G.I. Joe,